The night was draped in an inky blackness, and the wind whispered ominous secrets as the car sliced through the desolate road. In the back seat, little Sarah clutched her worn teddy bear, its button eyes reflecting the anxiety etched on her small face. Beside her, her mother gripped the steering wheel with white-knuckled intensity, a silent determination etched on her features. As the engine hummed in rhythm with the wheels on the asphalt, Sarah's eyes flickered to the rearview mirror, capturing the haunting reflection of the road swallowed by the velvety darkness. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows that danced along the edges of the desolate highway. "Mummy, where are we going?" Sarah's voice was a timid murmur, almost lost in the symphony of the night. "We're going home, sweetheart," her mother replied, her gaze fixed on the endless stretch of road ahead. The air inside the car seemed to thicken, laden with an unspoken tension that even a child's innocence couldn't entirely dismiss. Sarah stared out of the window, the passing trees morphing into ghostly figures that loomed and retreated with each bend in the road. As they ventured deeper into the night, the road seemed to stretch into infinity, a ribbon of uncertainty weaving through the solitude. Sarah's imagination stirred, and she thought she heard whispers carried by the wind, a soft chorus of fragmented voices that played tricks on her young mind. The car's headlights cut through the darkness, revealing glimpses of gnarled branches and abandoned structures that seemed to stare back with vacant windows. Unsettled, Sarah clutched her teddy bear tighter, seeking solace in its familiar softness. Minutes turned into an hour, and the desolation outside mirrored the growing unease within the car. The air felt charged with an invisible tension, as if the night itself was holding its breath. Sarah, now fidgeting in the back seat, felt a shiver crawl down her spine. "Mummy, I'm scared," she whispered, her voice carrying a tremor of vulnerability. Her mother stole a quick glance in the rearview mirror, her eyes softened by a fleeting moment of maternal concern. "It's okay, sweetheart. We'll be home soon." But the road seemed to have its own plans, twisting and winding like a serpent leading them into the unknown. Sarah's eyes darted to the shadows that flickered beyond the reach of the headlights, shapes that seemed to stir with a life of their own. The car, once a vessel of safety, became an island adrift in a sea of darkness. The night pressed against the windows, its weight felt in the silence that settled between mother and child. Sarah's teddy bear, now a lifeline, seemed to whisper secrets of comfort that went unheard in the looming quiet. And then, as if the night had conjured its own malevolence, the car's engine sputtered. The headlights flickered, casting the surroundings into a fleeting abyss before succumbing to an ominous darkness. Panic seized Sarah's heart as the car coasted to a reluctant stop, a mechanical sigh echoing through the stillness. "Mummy, what's happening?" Sarah's voice wavered, her eyes wide with a mixture of confusion and fear. Her mother, visibly tense, attempted to restart the engine, the rhythmic sound of the key turning echoing through the void. But the car remained still, nestled in the heart of an unfamiliar darkness. "We just need a moment, sweetie," her mother assured, her voice strained. Yet, in the oppressive silence, the night seemed to grow thicker, as if it were a living entity closing in on the stranded duo. Shadows danced beyond the windows, shapes coalescing and dissipating in the haunting stillness. With a growing sense of urgency, Sarah's mother turned to her daughter, a feeble attempt at a reassuring smile on her lips. "Stay here, sweetheart. I'll check the engine." As her mother stepped out into the night, Sarah felt the isolation wrap around her like a suffocating blanket. The wind whispered secrets that scratched at the edges of her consciousness, and the darkness beyond the window seemed to pulse with an unseen energy. Minutes stretched into an agonizing eternity, and Sarah's anxiety blossomed into full-blown fear. She clutched her teddy bear, its button eyes now witnesses to the unfolding unease. From the darkness outside, a sound emerged, a distant, haunting melody that seemed to reverberate through the stillness. "Mommy!" Sarah's voice quivered, the night swallowing her words. But there was no response. The melody, now a spectral lullaby, grew louder, its origin elusive in the sea of shadows. Sarah, driven by a mix of fear and a child's instinctive curiosity, unbuckled her seatbelt and stepped out into the night. The moon cast an ethereal glow on the abandoned road, revealing a scene that transcended.
In a small, nondescript town nestled in the heart of nowhere, I chanced upon an antiquated bookstore named simply Whispered Tales. The wooden sign squeaked in the wind, and the creaking door led me into a space that smelled of aging paper and nostalgia. The interior was dimly lit, a haven for forgotten stories and weathered spines. A frail old man emerged from the shadows, his eyes carrying the weight of years spent amidst dusty volumes. "You're not here for ordinary tales, are you?" he rasped, peering at me with an intensity that hinted at secrets untold. I nodded, and with a gesture, he pointed to a book atop a rickety stand. "This one has the story you seek, Shadows Weaved. It carries the legacy of a town haunted by more than just memories." As I leafed through the pages, the old man's voice became my guide. The tale unfurled in a way that transcended fiction, revealing a town ensnared by an age-old curse. A child, orphaned and desperate, had made a pact with an unseen force, a pact that bound the town to an annual sacrifice, an offering to satiate the shadows that lurked in the periphery. The entity, a malevolent force hidden in the tapestry of the town's history, demanded a soul each year. The child, now the bearer of this grim secret, passed it down through generations, a burden shared by a select few. As I delved deeper into the narrative, a chilling realization dawned on me. The upcoming ritual, the sacrifice chosen by some unfathomable force, coincided with my arrival in the town. The book spoke of an impending cycle, a dance with shadows that unfolded with eerie precision. Leaving the bookstore, the cursed tome clutched in my hands, I found the town cloaked in an unsettling twilight. The residents moved with a ghostly lethargy, their faces etched with a haunting familiarity. An invisible force seemed to guide me toward the town square, where an ancient well stood as a silent witness to centuries of secrets. Hooded figures, their features obscured, encircled the well, intoning an incantation that resonated through the stillness of the night. The ritual's climax drew near, and an unseen pull guided me forward. The townsfolk, their gazes vacant, urged me toward the well, a gateway to the shadows. The pages of Shadows Weaved turned of their own accord, revealing the grim climax of the tale. The chosen one, marked by an ethereal sigil, would step into the well and vanish into the shadows, offering respite to the town for another year.